Hey YouTube, Pheano here with segment 23 of Perfecting Blackwings. This segment's going to be the what's hot and what's not, some different card choices that people make, and I'm going to tell you two good card choices that you can make and two bad card choices you can make. I probably will do more of these in the future, so this will be part one, but these are some cards that I've been seeing people play, and two of them are just card choices that just are not optimal. First up, Trap Stun. Trying to mimic X-Sabers, people try putting Trap Stun and Blackwings to do the same thing because, you know, Blackwings, you want to be able to clear their back row so you can make your safe plays. But Trap Stun doesn't do the same thing in Blackwings as it does in decks like X-Sabers and Gladiator Beasts. Trap Stun is a card that's good in combo-based decks, not control-based decks. Gladiators can use their combos with this, like Jazarius into Herc, and X-Sabers can do their combos like the Fall Troll Gotom's play. Basically, when you use Trap Stun, since it's a -1 and it's temporary, much like Giant Trunade, you need to be able to make the most out of that turn and that play. So when you play this card, you need to be able to make a play that puts your opponent in a position that they most likely can no longer win, like the Jazarius Herc play. It costs them so much advantage, and now you just are in a game-winning position. Blackwings don't have any scenarios like that. Blackwings are more concerned about control than combos. They have a couple combos here and there, but it's more about just the core engine, not so much as just straight-up combos. The only thing that you could really consider a combo would be Black Whirlwind plays, I guess. The only matchup that I really do like Trap Stun in would be the Mirror match, since you can chain it to Icarus attack and stop the Solemn Warning and Bottomless Trap Hole. But outside of the Mirror match, don't use this. There are better cards to use. One of those better cards, 7 Tools of the Bandit. I've been using this for a little bit, as you've seen from my other videos. It's a very good card, this format. With people setting mass back row, this card has really been able to shine this format. So if your opponent sets like 3 cards and you have an Mystical Space Typhoon, you can use that against their mass back row, but you have a 1 in 3 chance of hitting what you want, saying that they only have 1 card that you want to hit. But let's just say that they only do have 1 card that you want to hit, and the other 2 aren't as important, like, say, their own Mystical Space Typhoon or like something like that. And the card you want to hit is, say, Bottomless Trap Hole. You have a 1 in 3 chance of hitting that. With 7 Tools of the Bandit, you hit specifically what you want to hit. So you can summon your monster and wait for their response and hit the specific card that you were looking for. Also, this stops a lot of relevant cards this format, like Trap Stun. X-Sabers can be a very hard matchup for Blackwings because of Trap Stun and Cold Wave. This gives you an answer to Trap Stun that they would not have expected you to have. When they flip Trap Stun, they're expecting that to be game over unless you have a Book of Moon. So 7 Tools of the Bandit gives you an answer to that, to their Gotom's Emergency Call. Also, another big card this format is Solemn Warning. You want to be able to have answers to that. So now you're going 1 for 1 with the Solemn Warning, and you're at a plus of 1,000 life points because you're paying 1,000, they're paying 2,000. And also the fact that you are now in the positive momentum shift. So they're trying to stop your summon. Not only are you in the advantage of 1,000 life points, but you actually got your summon off. And just the fact that it's a speed spell 3, aka a counter trap, the fact that they can't chain anything else to this aside from another counter trap is really good. So really the only thing that you can expect as a response to this would be a Solemn Judgment. I wanted to say warning there. Solemn Judgment, or another 7 Tools of the Bandit, really. Or perhaps a Dark Bribe, which is kind of cool this format too, because again, it stops Trap Stun, and it also stops Cold Wave, which is really rare to see nowadays. So yeah, there's not a lot of answers to 7 Tools of the Bandit, so most of the time if you activate 7 Tools of the Bandit, it's going to be the last card on the chain. Really good card. I highly suggest playing this. I play 1 of these right now. I played 2 for a little bit. I didn't like it too much. I kept drawing into multiples of them when I didn't need them. I only needed the 1, and I'd be in a good position after that. But play what you like. I liked 1. Experiment. Next up is Gold Sarcophagus. People have tried using Gold Sarcophagus to try and mimic what Pot of Duality does for the deck, for a lack of being able to afford Pot of Duality. Before Pot of Duality came out, Gold Sarcophagus was never played in Blackwings. It's not a very good card in the deck. The thing with Gold Sarcophagus is it's not like Pot of Duality. While it may add consistency to the deck per se, the 2-turn wait makes all the difference with the card. So, for example, cards that you would want to search at this would be Monster, Black Whirlwind, and Icarus Attack, or perhaps Dark Arm Dragon. Dark Arm Dragon would be one of the few targets for this that would be acceptable. But continuing with my scenario, those are 3 prime targets: Monster, Icarus Attack, and Black Whirlwind. And those are cards that you really need on the first couple turns, not 2 turns later. You need to be able to get those off right away. The 2-turn wait, so if you're searching for a monster, that would mean that you probably don't have any other monsters in your hand. So now you are in a bad position that Pot of Duality would have been able to get you out of. If you're searching for Icarus Attack, that's I don't know how to put it. It's just you need that right away, not in 2 turns, because now you have to wait an additional turn because you have to set it, and just the amount of time you have to wait for that will create a great shift in the game, because while you are waiting to go off, your opponent isn't. And the same goes for Black Whirlwind. After 2 turns, you probably have summoned your prime monsters that you want to use with that, and if you haven't, you've held on to them, and again, your momentum's really thrown off, because while you've summoned no monsters, your opponent's had 2 free turns to do that. It's not a very good card in the deck. Pot of Duality is leagues better than this. Now, I understand that people cannot afford Pot of Duality, so try making better card choices instead of Gold Sarcophagus. I would suggest playing Upstart Goblin over this. It'll do the same thing that Pot of Duality does, but not as good, whereas Gold Sarcophagus is trying to mimic it, but doesn't do the same thing. So I would play Upstart Goblin over this. It's better if you're on a budget. If you're playing both of them, I really don't see the point in that. I've seen some people do that. I just don't get it. This is to mimic Pot of Duality. There's nothing that you really need to search in the deck in 2 turns, aside from Dark Arm Dragon. And then finally, Spirit Reaper. This has been a popular card in Blackwings and the OCG for quite some time. I never tried it in the TCG myself because I felt that it was an OCG relevant tech. Recently, though, I've been motivated, I guess, to try it, and I did, and I have learned some of the theory in practice about it. Basically, Spirit Reaper, it's a wall. It lets you protect your stuff, and in a format like this, that's pretty good. People don't have a lot of answers to Spirit Reapers nowadays, because a lot of their answers are to summons or stopping an attack. Spirit Reaper just kind of sits there. I mean, their Bottomless Trap Hole, Solemn Warning, Book of Moon isn't going to do too much against it. Against most decks, they're going to have to go for a Synchro to get rid of this, or in the case of Blackwings, they can pull out a Gale or a Bora against it. But most decks will have a hard time dealing with an on-field Spirit Reaper, so you'll probably get a couple free turns off of it. In addition to that, it's a nice body in the deck. It's a dark monster, so it's Dark Arm Dragon and a Lower Darkness food. And its discard effect that is like X-Saber Arabellum is really nice, because in a deck like Blackwings, you can very easily get rid of their monsters with an Icarus Attack, a Bottomless Trap Hole, Solemn Warning. You just have a lot of answers to monsters in Blackwings. I counted last night in my deck, and I had like 12 answers to monsters. So it's a really great follow-up play to cards like Icarus Attack. Oh, Dark Hole, that's another good example. You can Book of Moon their monster, run it over with another monster, then attack a Spirit Reaper. In a lot of games that I get Spirit Reaper, I can camp on it for a turn and then pop their monster for 2 to 3 turns in a row and get a couple discards off. Very good card in the deck. Very good card this format. This with Solemn Warning is very effective. So overall, it's a very good card in the deck. I would suggest trying it at least. It's a neat card, this format, and it has a number of really good matchups this format, like X-Sabers. If they don't make Boronic against you, then it pretty much stops them right in their tracks when they try to OTK you, and now they're stuck with a choice of, do they want to keep their OTK on the field and hope to do it again next turn with a Boronic that they can make next turn, hopefully, after searching with their Dark Souls, or do they want to try to nuke your hand? Either way, you put them in an awkward position, and it really hurts their momentum. I haven't personally tested it out myself, but my friend Pete, who is a very good player, he's one of the best players in the state, he told me that it's a good card against plants, which I guess I can see, but I haven't personally tested it, so I'm just taking his word on it. And the only matchups that I can really see this being bad in would be Gladiators, for the obvious reason of they just take a shit on cards like this. That Gladiators were the prime reason that decks like Return Dad stopped playing Spirit Reaper. And the Bora scenario is really one of the only things that stop this. Against a deck like Gemini, it makes them waste resources on it when they didn't want to. Against gadgets, they really frown upon set monsters. That makes them waste their momentum, so they have to attack over it and then waste a smashing ground on it. So overall, it's a really good card. That's the end of my segment for now. I will bring you some more later. Peace, YouTube.